Yes, there used to be a ballpark right here. Harmony and Hardball.
Woohoo!
What episode are we? Four.
Four.
Episode four. You know it's good when we're losing count.
More
So
than I thought. Three more than I thought we'd have.
that's true. That's true. So we're gonna get right into it. We have a great episode. I think. I hope. I hope we have a great episode for everybody. We have another great guest lined up. We have another round of the what's the segment called?
The scouting report.
The scouting report. We have another
We got to
scouting
make a
report.
jingle or something. We got to make like a little tag for the scouting report.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So anyway, I know a guy who knows how to arrange tags, Danny. Hint, hint.
yeah, Steve Dream. I mean, who is it? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, let's go and admit him. Brett's giving things away. Here we go.
Suspense was killing everybody.
Yeah. Who do we have here? Hey,
Dave.
Steve
How are you?
All
Tramack.
right.
How's it going?
Doing great. Doing great. Good to see you guys
Yeah.
You
Good to
as
have
well.
you on. Good to have you on.
So,
here.
so Steve, I got to tell you, so every episode I've been wearing baseball caps, and I broke one out tonight just for you.
All right. Can't wait to see it. I have an
Here
idea.
we go.
Oh, all right.
Oh, how could you,
thought-
Terry?
I thought for a minute it might be a Yankee hat.
Oh, I have that. I have that too. If you want me to go get that.
No, that's perfectly fine.
That was just
Uh,
this past summer, Terry, that you did both,
It
right?
was. I did Fenway and Yankee Stadium this summer. This last summer. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, anyway, Steve, we're gonna go ahead and get rolling here with kind of what we do with everybody at the start. So just introduce yourself as far as your barbershop credentials and also your fan credentials. So you can go however you would like in whatever order.
Yeah, you bet. So I am a 43-year barbershopper. Started singing in a high school quartet before I got into the society. I am a fourth generation barbershopper. So my great grandfather started a chorus in 1946 in Pennsylvania, and my grandfather was a barber in that same small town who sang in the chorus and sang in a big band. And my dad was also a barbershopper. So I have been a judge now for, I guess, about 16 years, and was the musicality category specialist. And I'm currently the chair of the contest and judging committee. And I've coached, do some arranging, and I love barbershop. My probably better known nowadays for being Renee's husband and Samantha and Christina and Joshua's dad. Um, but also from a baseball perspective, I'm a lifelong baseball fan. My grandfather and my father also passed along the love of baseball to me. So growing up in northwestern Pennsylvania, became a Pirate fan at a very young age. In fact, some of my earliest memories are going to Three River Stadium. Never got to Forbes Field, but they told me all the stories about Forbes Field and going down for double headers on a weekend. And then we moved to New Hampshire in 1976, right after the Red Sox had almost won the World Series against the Big Red Machine. I figured, hey, I'm moving here at the right time. My team's going to be a world champion any day now, and had to wait a little while for that one. But huge baseball fan. I also all through high school was a Stratomatic baseball fan. I don't know if any of you have played Stratomatic baseball, but it's individual cards for every player, and the
Okay, yeah.
stats are pretty amazing. So I still to this day, Steve Armstrong and I bring Stratomatic cards with us whenever we're together, and if we can get 20 minutes, we'll play a game. He has a Blue Jays greatest players. I got the Red Sox one. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Do you have a favorite in stadium moment from your years of being a fan?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. So at in Three Rivers. Again, this is a very early memory, probably sometime around 1973 or so. Um, my dad, my grandfather, and I were going to the game, and I remember on the way my grandfather saying, "I know Bob Prince," and Bob Prince was the announcer, the radio announcer for the Pirates, Hall of Fame announcer. And my dad was saying, "You don't know Bob Prince." He said, "I know Bob Prince. Bob Prince came to Ridgeway, which is the town we were from. I met him at the Knights of Columbus. We struck up a friendship. He knows me." And my grandfather was getting more and more heated. So when we got to the stadium, I remembered my grandfather had taken me by the hand and my dad in tow, and we went right to an usher. And the usher got on the phone and got off the phone and said, "You can go up." And we went up to the press box. There, Bob Prince greeted my grandfather, and we got to sit and watch the Pirate game from the press box, two seats
Oh
over from Bob
my.
Prince. And that was a game that Clemente had the game-winning hit. I remember him having a hit and hitting a double and standing up in second base, and the whole place is going nuts. And I'm sitting there, and my grandfather's just beaming because Bob Prince had just come over and said hello and signed our books. It was amazing. Um,
That is phenomenal.
and
You
the
still have those books?
I sure
You,
do.
yeah.
I've got that program from that game, and I also have a 1957 and 60 Pirate yearbook with Clemente's autograph
Oh my
in
goodness.
pencil. So I hope it's still there. I haven't opened it up. And the other one at
Wow.
Fenway. So I've been going to Fenway Park for years. In fact, I'm a season ticket holder now with 20 game package every year. And we had some seats about four rows off the field, just beyond third base. And this was a game kind of later in Big Papi's career. He had been struggling at the plate early in the season. And second inning, he hits a double right off on the triangle off this in center field, and he then advances to third base, and it's like, all right, he's finally breaking out of it. And I yelled, "Nice stroke, Papi!" And he turned around and tipped his cap. And everybody in the whole section goes, "He can hear us." And and then some guys in front of us go, "Yeah." And then he said, "Steal home, Poppy." So the next pitch, Ortiz gets a lead off third and he starts charging toward home plate. And he stops and turns around and he's got this huge grin on his face looking right at our section. Yeah.
That's
It's just
amazing.
fantastic. So you realize at parks like Fenway, parks like Wrigley, you're right there in the action, and particularly down there, you got to stay alert. At least before they put the netting up, you had to
Right.
stay alert
Oh
because
yeah.
balls are coming in quickly.
Mhm.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's incredible. Yeah, we had Steve Armstrong, on last time,
yeah.
and unfortunately he went with Fenway over Wrigley as one of his,
I
favorite
heard.
parks of the old
I heard.
parks. But
I just was with Steve this weekend, and we talked about it. And I listened to the last episode as well. Yes, Fenway's pretty special. It really is just even when the Red Sox have been awful, there's just something magical about going to that park. I'm sure as you know,
Mhm.
I'm sure
yeah,
same
feel the
thing.
same way about Wrigley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
for
they have a
me,
good outlook this year? The Red Sox, I know they're not doing all that well yet.
yeah,
They're
struggling
ruining my
early.
summer already. They you know what? I really like the team. I like the young guys they've got right now, Roman Anthony and Marcel Meyer, and they've got some great pitching coming up with Peyton Tolley and Connolly Early, but they just haven't put it together yet. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
we
Unlike our
now
Cubs, who's
we
on a
Yeah,
6 game
yeah,
winning streak. It's
yeah.
awesome.
We literally, as we signed on, they finished off the game. So
Mhm.
we've enjoyed Bregman so far, which he was on the Red Sox last year, right?
Don't get me going.
Oh, I know, I know. I heard there was some consternation over not getting him back, huh?
Yeah, I really like Bregman, and he really hit it off with Roman Anthony and some of the younger guys in the team, and they're missing his leadership right now.
Yep.
Really missing that. It's put Trevor Story into a situation where he's got to be the seasoned voice, the leader in the clubhouse, and I just
Mhm.
think Bregman was a great leader there. So
Yeah, and he's already. I mean, I've already heard that he's taking some of the young guys from the Cubs under his wing, and I guess that's just kind of the leader he is. So
yeah,
Mhm.
We've enjoyed it, but
You
oh,
really
so
were.
so we do have to talk about this a little bit. So, um, as a Red Sox fan, you've experienced a long time without winning a World Series, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. So, and we all kind of shared in that experience growing up, and I know for me, going through 1998 and 2003, and just all these different failures in the playoffs and close calls and great teams, and then terrible teams, and then great teams that
Yep.
just never could put it together. So, what what's kind of your experience with that with the Red Sox, and then maybe lead into when they finally won in 2004? What was that like? Do you remember exactly
Yeah.
where you were? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely. There was always that hope of in 78. You figured that, this was a year that was kind of a magical team. Jim Rice was just pounding the ball that year. I was at a game late in the season when Rice hit a home run to win the game and tie the Red Sox in first place. And I can remember Fenway literally shaking. The whole building was shaking. Um, and just disappointment after disappointment. And you kind of is yeah, you didn't want to buy into the whole curse of the Bambino, but it just
Mm.
seemed like, boy, this team is just cursed.
Mm.
And 2003 felt like, yes, this is the team, with Pedro. Pedro is the best, and Pedro and Ortiz, and they just had that core. And then Aaron Bleep and Boone hits the home run that says, yeah, it's not going to be our year. But then
yeah,
2004 was just such a magical run. And particularly the ALCS. I mean, that's uh,
yeah,
I'm not sure there's ever going to be another stretch like that, of that starting with game 4 in that series through the end of the World Series. In fact, that was right. It was obviously in October, right around the time of the Northeastern District contest. And I was directing the Granite Statesman at that time. And in fact, we were singing "There Used to Be a Ballpark."
hmm,
That,
Oh,
and we had a Field of Dreams tribute kind of a thing with old time baseball uniforms. And I remember that just every single game, that game 4 with Rivera coming in the ninth, and he's just not looking like Mo. And Millar works the walk, and Dave Roberts gets the steal, and it's and you could just feel like we got this. And then it's
hmm,
Pedro and Schilling, and yeah, I think we I think this could
take
happen.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're just reading. I lived vicariously through Bill Simmons, and Bill Simmons was writing every day, writing these several thousand word essays that were like, "That's exactly what I feel."
yep,
And so Game 7 of ASCS was the Wednesday night before district contest, our final rehearsal as a chorus, and it's the first time I ever canceled a rehearsal. So the whole chorus could go and watch. Almost the whole chorus watched the game together, including my dad. So I was sitting there with my dad and most of the chorus, and we watched Game 7 against the Yankees. And then game 1 of the World Series, we were at the Northeastern District contest. The chorus won the contest that afternoon with Used to Be a Ballpark. And then for the first time ever, I skipped a quartet finals to go watch game 1 of the World Series in the bar with it seemed like most of the people that were at the convention. So
Well, we
yeah.
did the same thing, did we not, Terry?
yeah.
The year the Cubs were in,
We sure
were
did.
in the World Series, we
I think it's the
canceled
only time
rehearsal.
we've ever canceled for something like, I mean,
Yeah.
game one. I think it was game one, Brett,
Yeah,
with
we
the
I
would
Cubs
have
think you're
been.
game.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was game one. Only time I can ever remember we canceled was for game one of the World Series.
But
Some things are more important than barbershop.
yeah, I'll tell you- well, and
Not
to,
many.
to experience agreed, but to experience that with my dad,
Oh,
and all my my closest friends in my course, that was just really magical. And just after every game, my dad and I were talking, and I think we stayed up for hours after every game watching anything that was on TV, watching the post game show, watching ESPN,
Oh yeah.
just trying to soak it all in, and knowing that it was a pretty magical time.
That's awesome.
Tim and I talk about that a lot. If our teams win, usually will watch ESPN the rest of the show. So if they lose, TV doesn't come on.
It's
I
like
don't want to hear anything about it. But
I'm listening to
I,
something else, talk radio or
yeah,
something.
So you think that's bad? I get the worst parent of the year award for Game 7 of the World Series in 2016. So the Cubs are it was a late game anyway, but the Cubs are they go back and forth. Cubs are up going into the late innings, and my son, who was in bed and he was 15 at the time, got up and came out and he was kind of watching the game with me, and the Indians score three
oh
runs,
no,
and
you did not.
I sent him to bed. I said you gotta
Yeah,
get. I said you gotta get out of here. You're bad luck. You,
it's
Oh
a great
my.
story.
you have got to go to bed. So he went to bed. In defense, I did wake him up to watch the final out.
You know what?
That's
You know, that's awesome, Terry. So Anthony Rizzo and David Ross are doing a podcast for the 10-year anniversary of the Cubs winning the World Series. And the one I just listened to, they were talking about how when that Rajai Davis homer happened to tie the game, like they were feeling what we were feeling. Like Anthony Rizzo said, he said, "I've never believed in curses." He goes, "But I literally at that moment was like, maybe this is real. Maybe this curse actually is real." And he's on the field playing. I'm like that. That's how that felt. I mean, just
Hey,
numb.
had there not been a rain delay, that game could have turned out so different.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Absolutely.
They were shell shocked. I mean, they were absolutely.
So
So
was
yeah,
my
but
son.
does anybody have any kind of memories of like the moment it happened, or like anything about any of you? I mean, Steve as well from
Sure, yeah. So I remember I picked up my sister. We were both in the city in Chicago for I was in college at this point. So I picked up my sister from the city like right when the game started. We drove home to watch Game 7 at my parents' house in Joliet. So it was fun to drive down. But then after the game was over, obviously we were celebrating, going crazy, calling everybody. But then I remember we got in the car and we drove around to like all like the area sports shops because they were open selling the Cubs gear.
Oh
So
yeah.
we had Dick's Sporting Goods went to the mall to see if they had anything left. There's about huge lines like around the building, and people were waiting to get in to buy like the hat and the shirt. So of course we all ended up with like $50 for $70 worth of like gear. Just we all got the shirt, we all got the hat. So it's funny to like think about after the fact. Like we listened to the radio like for like 24 hours afterwards, watch every
Oh
single
yeah.
sportscast or whatever. But I just remember going out late after the game was done and going to every sports shop we could see if it was open to try to find some gear to wear the next day. So crazy times.
That's awesome.
In
I'm still
2016, when they won, I remember Tyler was still here. My son, who in 2016, shortly after that, moved to Australia, and so we were able to watch that together and hug. And I mean, I grew up a Twins fan, but which David Ortiz played for first. But
thank you.
yeah, that was yeah. You're welcome. And the Yankees, thank you for Babe Ruth, I'm sure. But yeah, that was a pretty special time, as I remember. Now, if I can now on a different sport, now if I can get my Minnesota Vikings to do the same thing, that would be awesome. But I'm still waiting. Misery.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember it. My parents came over in our basement. We're watching, with the Rajai Davis homer, the rain delay, and they were deciding should they go home. And they stayed, and we watched it, and it happened. And like you just said, called all my friends and old friends and cousins and people, and it was just stayed up till I mean, and it was on a Wednesday, so I had work the next day. But I couldn't fall asleep till 3 or 4 in the morning, just watching all the post game stuff. And I remember I got maybe 3 hours of sleep, and I woke up, and I was still I mean, like I wasn't tired at all.
I mean, you
Hey
think
So
Tim,
about
should we
all,
talk?
unbelievable.
Sorry.
you think about all the people in our fan bases, our respective fan bases, who went their entire lives without seeing a championship for their team.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that so that we certainly felt a real kinship as a Red Sox nation,
Yeah.
Red Sox fans, such a pulling for the Cubs, and of course Theo Epstein is
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
Great. Hey Tim, should we talk barbershop at all?
We could talk some barbershop. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, Steve, what are you looking forward to with St. Louis coming up here?
I'm looking very much forward to first of all the new singing contest.
Yep.
Danny, I understand you're the onset singing in that. I heard
Yes,
that in the episode. That's fantastic.
looking forward to it.
It's going to be It's going to be a lot of fun because first of all, it's the first time we've done this. I really think it's going to be something really fun and unique. The having a lot more of the concept like The Voice or American Idol with the host on sitting on stage in four chairs there, and after a quartet sings, they go sit down, they get interviewed on stage. After they leave the stage, the audience will find out what they scored, so everybody's going to know, like who the top two quartets are as the contest goes on. I think it's just going to be
Oh,
a
wow.
really cool vibe.
I just got more nervous hearing that.
And so we'll know, and of course those two quartets will get seeded into the quarterfinals, which will all happen on one day. This year, the top 52 groups from across the world. The other cool thing is that quartets that do the singing that don't make the quarterfinals will also have additional opportunities to perform throughout the week. So I think they're going to really have the opportunity to be barbershop ambassadors for the convention. So I'm excited to see how all that pans out. I'm really excited for the quartet contest. I think this is going to be a barn burner this year. It's just great quartets, and really going to be getting them all on the same stage is going to be it's going to be a lot of fun for the audience, for the judges, for the quartets. It's going to be fantastic.
You are not in the pit, are you?
Well, I'm in the pit, but I'm not writing scores. I'm as
Sure.
the CNJ SCJC chair. I am the contest chair, which means that I basically get to sit there and worry about everything that's happening during the performances. And I did this for the first time this past year, and it literally took me until about halfway through the second round to just relax because I was waiting for, is this going to feedback? Or did that know what happened in the hall? Is it, are the doors closed? Is the lighting on? Just really being aware of everything that's going on during the contest. But it's a pretty cool thing to also to be able to get to stand up there and announce the results from each round and who's going on to the final rounds as well. Got a chance to announce my daughter's fifth place medal last year, which was a pretty cool thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a great segue into
Yeah.
our next edition of the Scouting Report. Um, so I understand that you have done a little bit of coaching with one of our top quartets coming in here to St. Louis, GQ. So, do you want to give us a little background on, what are they working on? Like, what are things that our audiences should be excited about as they come into St. Louis here?
Yeah, it's I've had the great fortune to spend some time with GQ here over the last year and a half or so, and we've gotten together I think maybe three or four times this year so far. They are just amazing human beings. They are incredible, sensitive singers and musicians. They have a really uncanny knack of, first of all, they work really hard. When we get together, we spend probably 5 or 6 hours on a Saturday and another 5 or 6 hours on a Sunday. And coming into international, they basically started each session by singing all six songs right off the bat, 9 a.m. And just kind of setting that groundwork. And they love digging in, but they also into the details, but they also work at just such a authentic level finding ways to bring themselves to the music. So and they all it's amazing that you can work with them on a over the course of a weekend, and then the next time they get together, it's better. It just somehow, whatever they do in between, they're processing it. It's better the next time. And I worked with them on a new song that they took into prelims, "When He Sees Me" from Waitress,
Mm.
um, and uh, we worked it for a couple hours. They sang it. The next time they got together was at prelims, and hearing it there is like, when did you do all of that stuff? When did it get that better? Just the way they process things, I guess. So it's really cool that they are bringing some new music, three new
Awesome.
songs into St. Louis. We've been working on. It's gonna sound funny, but we've been working on Lock and Ring. just how do they value lock and ring at like the highest levels and find a way to bring that into all of the amazing things they do from a vocal expression and just the expressive singing that they do. The other thing is uh, because the songs are driven through such personal experience and emotion, uh, it changes over the course of time. So, for example, they sing the song "Coffee" that by Chapel Roan, and singing it here at prelims this year, they were in different life places than they were when they sang it last year. So the song has changed because it's not a program thing. It's how they're feeling, and particularly as the melody passes around, it's how whoever's feeling. So we spend a lot of time having the other three parts be really empathetic to whoever has the focal at that moment, whoever's singing the melody or whoever has got the musical baton at that moment. So that's it's a really fun journey, and it's been really rewarding to be able to just collaborate with them and see them grow as people and musicians. It's and just learn to sing together in this combination.
That's really awesome. I mean, because you hear a quartet like that, like you said, who is already singing at such a high level, it's it's great to just hear that they're working some technical things from the lock and ring,
Mhm.
but also just still working sensitivity and musical things at the same time. That's the constant, you know, patting
Yeah,
your head, rubbing your belly kind of thing of just like being able to do both those things and be authentic while also crushing chords, just
yeah, yeah,
so
exactly.
difficult.
And they're really we had the chance to be on faculty together, Renee and I and GQ at the European Quartet School back in January, and they did a 1 hour master class. And as part of that, they said let's do a coaching into glass for 20 minutes just to kind of show everybody what it is that our process. And so we'll bring you up on stage, and they said we're going to take When He Sees Me, which at that time was just off paper. They were still holding iPads as they were singing it. They said, "We're just going to do this, and we'll take it wherever you want to take it." And they were willing to kind of, warts and all. Here's where this is. There are still wrong notes. We're still just kind of learning it, but just letting everybody see this is what the process is, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Mhm. Yeah, I think back to last year's contest when they sang "It's All Coming Back to Me Now," and I was shocked. Like once I realized what song it was, I was like, "Oh, here we go. This is gonna be awesome." So that was for me like, one of the songs of the contest, and I think back to when I was first getting into barbershops, like going through like the YouTube like wormhole, the barbershop wormholes, like finding different stuff. I always think back one of the first ones I saw was that the famous video of them like I see it right now 12 years ago when this that something tells me I'm into someone something tells me I'm into something good. That video is like
Yeah.
a fantastic thing. I show it to my students every single year, like around barbershop
Mhm.
quartet day. Like this is so cool. So like I've always thought GQ was fantastic quartet, great ambassadors of the style and everything. So I'm really looking forward to hearing them in St. Louis for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be really exciting, and they're presuming they make the finals, or the two brand new songs that they bring in. It's pretty breathtaking stuff. It's we worked it for about one of the songs for about 2 or 3 hours, and then they sang it through, and I was still in tears several times during the song. I said, "Well, we just tore this apart. We've been singing this now for hours, and it's still pretty powerful. It's amazing that, and that's one of my favorite things about international is that just the level of musicality that you hear from quartets and choruses is just so powerful. It evokes visceral responses, and it's just such an amazing thing that we all get to do together.
So, do you have any new arrangements at International this year?
I have. I'm not sure if there may be a couple of new charts. With my work situation and coaching and SDJC stuff, my arranging has slowed down quite a bit. I'm actually just kind of getting things fired back up again from that perspective. But
Well, send any of them to Danny if you can't do them. He'll be glad to do
Danny's
them.
doing Danny's doing great stuff. Yeah, Danny, I love that live and living color that Forward
Thank
Harmony.
you.
That's a great chart.
Oh,
Thank you. I really
jeez.
appreciate
You
that.
better clip that too, Danny.
Yeah,
Oh
hey,
God.
it's
Here we
fantastic.
go. I tried to lead him in for you,
I love
Danny.
it.
Yeah.
That was a pitch right down the middle, Brett.
There we go.
That's awesome. What one final kind of to tie a bow on the GQ thing. What are some things that you've noticed as you've worked with them, just as you've worked Sam in on bass, like just kind of
Yeah.
any differences, or like what song has it changed song selections, or like
Yeah.
personality of the quartet, that kind of stuff.
Well, it's interesting because Samantha, this is she sang bass in an SAI Rising Star quartet a few years ago, but this is the first time she's really sung bass in a full-time quartet, and so she kind of went from subbing for GQ and kind of doing the she every once in a
Yeah,
while would say, hey, that's GQ. And then it's like, no, well, yeah, you're in this quartet too. So it's they've she now isn't, I don't think she's trying quite as hard as she was when she first started singing the quartet. She's been
sure,
able to relax, and it really has, it's definitely driven some different kind of song choices. They actually find now that they're trying to bring in a lot of new music to have things that they all learn together, so that they're kind
sure.
of putting their own stamp on it.
Mhm.
The interesting thing was the songs that they did last year in Denver. The three songs they had done uh, prior to Samantha all scored just below a 90. And the three
Uh-huh.
songs they had learned with Samantha all scored just above a 90. So it's like,
Interesting.
okay, well, we clearly need to
Yep.
explore this quartet this approach to the music, because they're all learning these things together. So it's been a great journey, and Samantha even was saying that she feels like she can really be herself in GQ. She's at that point now where she's being herself, not trying to be anything else or anyone else, which is really cool.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's
She's
awesome.
fantastic. Yeah, I love listening.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool. We got to she sang lead with After Hours up at the
Right?
was it Northeastern District camp or
Yeah, the
something?
Harmony College
Yeah,
Northeast
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Chesapeake.
That
Yeah,
was a couple of years ago, and Drew's. It was the day that like all of the all of the Windows like computers went blue, and it was crazy. A ton of flights got canceled, but Drew couldn't
yeah,
make it up, and a couple different people stepped in and sang lead, but she was just amazing. Sang the coffee song with us, and it was like, holy cow,
yeah.
incredible singer. So yeah. Well, let's see here. I'm just kind of jumping through. We have a little bit of time left here. Let's do this one. Let's do a little lightning round with everybody. Favorite ballad arrangement of all time. So let's do a little game here with everybody. We'll go in order that I'm going to go around clockwise of what I see. So Danny, you're up first.
I don't know if I could pick one. I thought
Oh,
about this. I had it. I was like, oh my gosh. So if I'll say I have a quartet one and I have a chorus one. So my quartet one is Smiling Through.
mm,
That's one of the first songs that my quartet actually ever sang together. That was one of the first things we brought to contest. And then our immediate feedback when we were like 20 years old from one of the judges was, "Don't sing this song." I was like, okay, sounds good. We were just too young to know what was going on there. It's obviously a beautiful chart, and the message is so sweet, but like we didn't have any business singing that in our current state of life. So like we were talking about before with GQ, like the song changes the older you get with it. So I love that one. And then my favorite chorus arrangement is "It Only Takes a Moment," the David Wright. I
mm.
sing that all the time. I love singing the tag whenever I get together with a group of guys. So two great arrangements right there. I love those.
How about you, Steve?
I actually I'll do a chorus and quartet, and I picked the same two arrangers.
Okay.
For chorus, No Other Love, David Wright.
Mm,
That is just it's based on the Chopin Etude, and it is just such a stunning piece of music. And that chart, um, it just if you want to talk about creating anticipation and build to a climactic moment, I know AOH did it this fall in at the Central States District, and it was that moment where the trio hits the high point and the basses come in. They do this kind of this arpeggio. It's one of the greatest musical moments I can ever recall that I've ever experienced live. It's just such an incredible chart by David. And Stockholm City Voices singing it has the same impact. And from a quartet perspective, in the heart of the city, the as Lou Perry arrangement, Boston Common. I can't sing that song without crying, and I have no idea. It's not the lyrics, it's not the melody, it's just that arrangement and just the overall feel that, and that tag of Heart of the City is just stunning. I've stood around and sung it for hours, just the last 8 bars at a convention.
That's awesome. Brett?
I love A Kid Named Joe. I love singing in the chorus. I love that. But what you two might remember, which one did Steve do for us? Did he do Out There?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And that's another one that I really, really love doing in the chorus. That one was a special song for all of us in the chorus.
Yep.
And it was, those are the two that I can think of that I really enjoy.
Terry?
Yep. So I have two: a contestable one and a non-contestable one. The contest one that gets me every time I hear it is "Not While I'm Around." That chart, I sat at the internationals in the audience and was with my son, and I cried like a baby through that song.
Still do.
Right.
Yeah.
The non-contestable one, I'm going to go back a few years, and I'm going to go to Danny Boy by the Suntones, just because of Gene.
Great choice. Yeah. No, I thought of a couple honorable mentions that just from a singing perspective, singing them, and Not While I'm Around is one of them. The quartet, Steve, if you don't know, if you're listening, Steve Tramack arranged that for After Hours, and that's always been a special ballad to the quartet. Every couple years, we'll sing it for a while, and then we'll give it a year break or something, and we always end up coming back to it. So we were just talking like the last time we were together, we need to bring that back and sing that on a Glow or sing that on a show, and so just a great ballad. And Sound of Music by David Wright. It's another one that just all four of us in the quartet love to sing. But neither of those are my favorites. So not quite. They're my honorable mentions.
Steve.
They're my honorable mentions. They're just right there. But no, I had to pick one. The 2008 was the first international convention I ever went to. And I sang with the Ambassadors of Harmony. Johnny, we met Johnny at a Vocal Spectrum show. He convinced Ben Harding and I to join the chorus, and we sang Love Walked In, and sang that with AOH. And for me, nothing has topped it since.
Stunning.
The word painting, the everything that David did with that is just,
he's the GOAT.
Incredible. Yeah. So
yeah,
for me. Well, hey, Steve, thank you so much for coming on and talking baseball and barbershop. This has been
a blast. This is fantastic. I'm really glad you guys are doing this. I'm a fan. I'm subscribed to the podcast, and I was
you're
thrilled to be asked.
Woohoo.
You're one of the 10s. That's awesome.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
That's
Tim,
right.
before we wind up really quick, I just want to give a shout out to Cubs rookie pitcher Riley Martin, who happens to be a graduate of Quincy University, Division II baseball, my alma mater. Let's go Hawks!
Boom.
So we also talked, Tim, that we wanted suggestions for any other guests, those kind
We're
of things.
gonna have to get suggestions next time because we're out of time for now. So
because you're cheap.
We will talk to you all later and see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks,
Harmony
Steve.
and Hardball. Thanks, Steve.
Basketball, football, hockey, and golf. Man, I love watching sports.